Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Germain Talks, and I hope you'd be doing absolutely safe and fantastic. Couple of days ago I was thinking about making a video on distributorship agreements, but something kind of struck my mind that without talking of antitrust provisions and the statute, it's actually a half-hearted job in discussing distributorship agreements. So here I am with a short video on the antitrust provisions and how does it relate to our day-to-day contract management and negotiation. So let's roll in. Well, let me tell you something at the start. Antitrust is a huge headline maker. Like, you must have read in newspaper that so and so company got fined by the court for $500 million or $2 billion of as fine, or $50 billion of merger and acquisition activity was cancelled by the government. It couldn't get approval from the cabinet and things like that. It's a huge headline maker, like I said. So what is it all about? It of course sounds fancy. So it is actually a statutory provision which is there to provide for general regulation of trade and commerce in respect to conspiracies, monopolies, and trade practices and mergers and acquisition. Every country has their own version of antitrust laws. Like, for example, Canada has Competition Act 1889, then US has Sherman Act, then later on they came up with Clayton Act, and India had MRTP Act, Monopolistic and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, and it was repealed, and Competition Act 2002 was passed by the Parliament. So this is about the statute. So, but the main point of all these statutes is that all of them tend to kill and eradicate any kind of monopoly or collusion or cartel formation or any merger and acquisition by which there would be a creation of a giant in the market, which will probably create a single vendor or single player situation. So at a layman's level, this is what the whole statute aims to achieve, and this is one of those statutes which has both commercial and criminal damages associated to it. So the criminal proceedings can also be initiated in a court of law, apart from the monetary damages awarded by the court. And it runs for, like, depends on the statute, it runs as high as 10 years and then goes to millions and billions of dollars on the financial side on the civil side of things. As like I said, antitrust has certain places where certain points on which things have to be seen in, so that not to attract the provisions of antitrust statute. One is, of course, the price fixing. If there are very few players in the market and all of them decide to fix the price, this is against the spirit of the free market. So actually, you are not allowing the market to determine the price, but you're determining it preemptively. This is against the antitrust statute. Then we have agreement on quantity and quality. If, like, there are if the market players think like collude amongst themselves that this year we'll only bring this quality version X or version Y or Z, and we'll not graduate from this, and all of us would be like this and for this price. This is a classic example of antitrust provisions breach. Then during the contract management process, there's bid rigging, in which players do the bid rigging of the artificially increasing and decreasing the price points. Then we have trade association as one of the very vulnerable places for invoking antitrust provisions. Like, for example, there is an industrial body, say cement manufacturers of country X decide that now for next 2 years this would be our production limit, and we'll be mm, like they can discuss all the things that how to make the cement or how to make that particular commodity. But if that association turns into a price fixing platform, then it becomes a cartel club, which is against the antitrust provisions. And this is one place where which is quite vulnerable. Then we have resale price maintenance, then we have predatory pricing, price discrimination in a market, and one place, and of course, how can I forget about mergers and acquisition? So what happens that before a merger is actually executed, the the whole financials and the whole filings are given to the competition commissioner's office, depends on which country is applicable for. So the competition authorities actually see and analyze both the books, that would the amalgamation of these two corporations constitute or give rise to a birth of a crime, and if yes, then it should be avoided, and things like that. And after the merger is executed, then again the filings are done with the competition commissioner or the relevant statutory authority. So that is M&A side of things. Within M&A, there are small contracts, and they can have antitrust provisions, and which can have all these things which I have said. And one other place is, like I said at the start of the video, is distributorship agreements. Now distributorship agreement is something which is like a landmine for antitrust provisions. Like in terms of if, for example, there is a cement manufacturer, they're huge, like there are one or two cement manufacturers in the country, and they decide that they would be giving the dealerships to or distributorship to these distributors, and with their with their terms of and conditions, where the bargaining power lies with the with the manufacturer. Then in that situation, is there a kind of area APR, what we say is area of prime responsibility, in which the area is restricted for the distributor, or burden of performance, or things like that. So the distributorship agreement is highly prone to antitrust issues, and of course, like I said, it has to be avoided at all the costs, so that uh, so that it doesn't fall under that trap. And the if there is a actual litigation or an inquiry in this, so the statute and the regulatory bodies try to see that whether the monopoly or the purported monopoly is actually there in substance, or it's seems everything is fine at the surface. So they go quite deep into it and try to find the intent of the existing agreements. So that is what my end note would be, that whatever the agreements should be on equal footing, and they should be in the spirit of free market economy, and they should not be something which should attract antitrust provisions, and as a consequence of that may invite the regulatory proceedings. That's all in this video, and I hope you like the if you like the my video, then please do like, share and comment, and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you very much.